We, Homo sapiens, the so-called wise man, are the last remaining ember of a once blazing fire, a family tree of human species, each unique, each forged by nature, and each now lost to the shadows of prehistory. But what if I told you there were 8 branches to that tree? 8 kinds of humans. Some walked upright millions of years ago. Others built tools, hunted mammoths, interbred, and vanished without ever writing a word. Their DNA whispers in our blood. Their bones speak through stone. Their legacy is carved into who we are. This is not a tale of one species rising to dominance. It is the story of 8 human speciesite variations of us, each a chapter in a forgotten epic that science is still struggling to piece together. This is the real history of our kind. Homo erectus, Neanderthal, Denisovan, Homo habilis, Homo floresiensis, Homo naledi, Homo luzonensis, and finally, Homo sapiens. So today, let's go back. Back before civilization, before cities, empires, or alphabets. Back to when the human story was still being written in the dirt, in the fire, in survival. The earliest member of this forgotten family tree, Homo habilis, was more ape than man, but something had changed. Around 2.4 million years ago, in the shadowed grasslands of East Africa, habilis picked up a rock and sharpened it. Small in stature, with long arms and a modest brain, Homo habilis wasn't mighty, but he was clever. He didn't just use nature, he began to shape it. That simple stone tool was the spark. It was the first time a creature had dared to modify the world around it for purpose. We call him the handyman. But really, he was the ancestor of innovation itself. Then came Homo erectus, bolder and far more daring. Around 1.9 million years ago, Erectus left Africa and became the first human species to walk out into the wider world. They were wanderers, fire starters, tool builders, from Indonesia to Georgia, from China to the Levant. Their bones have been found across continents. Imagine that. An ancient human standing at the edge of a land unknown, staring across a vast landscape with nothing but stone tools and a fire that wouldn't go out. And here's the most astonishing part. Homo erectus may have lived for nearly 2 million years, longer than any human species, ourselves included. How many things in our world last that long? Most of us know the name, but few understand how much of them still lives inside us. Neanderthals were not mindless brutes. They were deeply human, burying their dead, making art, and surviving in the bitter cold of Ice Age Europe. Stocky, strong, with larger brains than our own, they hunted giant beasts and survived for hundreds of thousands of years in brutal conditions. And yes, they met us and mated with us. If you have European or Asian ancestry, chances are that 1 to 2% of your DNA still belongs to a Neanderthal. But 40,000 years ago, they disappeared. Not all at once, not with a bang. Quietly, mysteriously, a ghost retreating into the mists of time. Denisovans remain science's most haunting mystery. we've never found a full skeleton. Just a few bones and teeth discovered in a cave in Siberia in 2010. Yet from that scant evidence, we know they were real and powerful. They roamed from the highlands of Tibet to the rainforests of Southeast Asia. And like the Neanderthals, they left a genetic fingerprint. Modern Melanesians and Aboriginal Australians carry up to 5% Denisovan DNA. Who were they? Why do we know so little? And how could a people so widespread simply vanish? In 2003, on the remote Indonesian island of Flores, scientists found something they couldn't believe. A tiny skeleton, just over a meter tall, with a skull no bigger than a grapefruit. At first, they thought it was a diseased Homo sapiens, but they were wrong. It was a new species, Homo floresiensis. The media called her the hobbit, and rightly so. She was small, but she was no primitive brute. She used tools, hunted pygmy elephants, and likely knew fire. Here's the strangest part. She may have lived as recently as 50,000 years ago. In other words, while Neanderthals roamed Europe and Homo sapiens were spreading across continents, a different kind of human was surviving in isolation on an island few had ever seen. Was Homo floresiensis wiped out by modern humans? Did rising seas trap and doom them? Or, as some islanders still whisper, did she never truly disappear? Discovered in the labyrinthine caves of South Africa in 2013, Homo naledi shocked the scientific world. At first glance, his bones seemed ancient primitive, even a small brain, curved fingers, ape-like shoulders, a creature from 2 million years ago. But carbon dating revealed something eerie. These bones were just 250,000 years old. That meant naledi lived at the same time as early Homo sapiens. But how? How could a species so archaic, so small-brained, exist alongside us? Even more shockingly, they might have practiced burial. Deep in the caves, their dead were intentionally placed, again and again. Could creatures with brains the size of oranges understand death? This wasn't just another hominin. This was a riddle, a paradox, proof that human evolution wasn't linear, it was tangled, like a river that kept splitting and merging again. Then came another surprise. In 2019, on the Philippine island of Luzon, scientists uncovered a few strange teeth and bones, different from anything seen before. Too small to be Neanderthal, too recent to be primitive, too advanced to be monkey-like. Meet Homo luzonensis, another island-dwelling species, another branch we never knew existed. We don't know how long they lived or what they looked like in full, but one thing is certain, they were human in their own way, and once again, they challenged the old story. The one that says evolution was a straight ladder toward us. And then, there was us. We appeared roughly 300,000 years ago in Africa. At first, we were just one among many. One species in a crowd of cousins. But we spread fast. across deserts, seas, mountains, and forests. We were flexible, social, imaginative. We painted on cave walls, built tools of bone and antler, and learned to speak of things not seen, of gods, of spirits, of the past and future. Along the way, we met them. The Neanderthals, the Denisovans, perhaps even naledi or floresiensis. Sometimes we fought, sometimes we mated, and sometimes, simply by arriving, we replaced them. By 10,000 years ago, all the others were gone. Why did only Homo sapiens survive? Was it our minds, the ability to imagine what isn't there, to plan for tomorrow, to fear gods we'd never seen? Was it our social bonds, our gift for language, empathy, and cooperation in large, complex groups? Or was it something darker? A capacity for aggression, for outcompeting, for eliminating. Some say it was pure chance, a shift in climate that only we adapted to, a genetic mutation that opened new neural pathways. Or perhaps we simply arrived last and claimed what was left. This question haunts archaeologists and geneticists alike. It stirs beneath every ancient bone uncovered, every fragment of DNA retrieved from teeth buried for millennia. Because the deeper we dig, the more we realize we were never alone. Once, the world held many kinds of humans. They painted, they hunted, they mourned their dead. They shared fire. And now they are gone. And that leaves us not as victors, but as orphans. Because here's the truth. Our dominance is not the final act of an evolutionary play. It's the last page of a long, epic novel, most of it torn away. A saga filled with heroes we'll never meet, and family we never knew we had. Their blood may be gone, but their memory endures in the shadows of caves, the ridges of fossils, and the echoes in our own DNA. Maybe we were never meant to be alone, but now that we are, let us remember them. Let us not forget that the human story is larger than us. When we look into the mirror today, we see a single face, familiar, modern, human. But that reflection tells only part of the story. Behind our eyes, beneath the skin, in every echo, the lives of many who came before us. Our DNA is not a solitary thread, but a woven tapestry, a polyphonic chorus of vanished cousins, a genetic symphony composed over millions of years, shaped by migrations, extinctions, and moments when worlds collided in blood and breath. You may carry the strength of a Neanderthal's stocky frame built for cold and battle. You might possess the lungs of a Denisovan adapted to high-altitude life in the Himalayas. Buried deep within your code, there may even be ancient remnants of Homo floresiensis or Homo naledi species we barely understand, yet whose silent whispers may still echo in you. And yet, we call ourselves the only ones, the last, the peak, the chosen. But perhaps that isn't entirely true. Perhaps we are not the conclusion, but a continuation. Human history is not a straight line of progress. It's not a clean ascent toward perfection. It is a mosaic cracked, rearranged, and pieced together by the hands of time. Homo habilis lit the first spark-creating tools, changing nature with intention. Homo erectus carried that flame across continents, becoming the first global wanderer. Neanderthals taught us resilience in the face of Ice Age cruelty. Denisovans adapted to lands we could barely survive in. Even those on the fringes like naledi and floresiensis remind us that life finds a way, even in the shadows of the human tree. These weren't evolutionary mistakes. They were experiments in being human. Answers to the silent question. What else could humanity have been? Some were stronger. Some were smarter. Some burned brightened, were gone too soon. We like to think we're the final result, that everything before us was just a warm-up act to Homo sapiens. But the truth is far more humbling. We are not the culmination. We are the last survivors. Each of those species was a path not taken, and in losing them, we lost voices, ways of thinking, forms of feeling. We gained the world, but we inherited it alone. So when you look in the mirror again, see more than just one face. See the faces layered beneath your own, the ones whose stories are written in your bones, whose triumphs and failures built the foundation of who you are. Because humanity was never one story. It was a collection of lives each with a different answer to what it meant to be human. And in the end, it wasn't the smartest or the strongest who survived. It was those who endured. Us. But the others? They are not gone. They live on in memory, in science, and in us. For too long, we imagined evolution as a ladder reach, rung taking us higher, closer to some ideal form, some perfect version of what it means to be human. But nature doesn't build ladders. It grows trees. The truth is wilder, stranger, more beautiful. Imagine a great tree, ancient beyond imagining. Its trunk is thick with time. Its branches twist and reach in all directions, splitting, merging, stretching toward different skies. Some branches end abruptly, snapped by extinction. Others wind back and touch again, leaving behind subtle echoes in our genes. And from one of those final limbs, we emerged. But we are not separate from the tree. We are not above it. We are the tree. Its roots run through us. Its branches hold our ancestors. We are the continuation of millions of silent stories of firelit nights, of first tools shaped from stone, of courage in the cold. Their victories are our foundation. Their failures are our warnings. Their blood still flows in our veins. Every time you light a fire, craft a tool, sing to a child, or stare into the sky and ask, "Why am I here?" you are continuing what they began. You are not alone on this branch. You are the leaf trembling at the tip of an ancient limb, backed by the strength of everything that came before. And the story isn't finished. The tree still grows. Today, we build machines that learn faster than we do. We dream of colonizing distant planets, escaping the limits of Earth. We speak of progress, of speed, of innovationes, if the future is all that matters. But how often do we pause to ask the oldest question of all? Who are we, really? Not just by title, job, nationality, or skin color. Not by the borders we draw or the technologies we create, but by something older, deeper, woven into our very being. You are not just your name, not just one life in a crowded world. You are the result of millions of years of survival of ancient migrations, near extinctions, and quiet, miraculous adaptations. You are the breath of Neanderthals, the fire of Homo erectus, the resilience of forgotten cousins who faced the dark and dared to go on. You carry in you not just potential but legacy, not just intelligence but memory. You are the living echo of stories untold, languages never spoken, faces long returned to dust. And if you ever feel small, or lost, or alone, remember this: you are not an accident. You are not separate. You are the culmination of a family older than time itself. You are their dream still breathing. So, as we look to the stars and build new worlds, may we never forget the ancient one that built us. If this story moved you, if you felt the firelight flicker in your chest, or saw the outline of another face in the mirror, then don't let the past be forgotten. Subscribe to Prehistoric Shadows, because here we remember them. We give voice to the silent. We light a torch in the dark caves of memory. And together, we explore the question: what does it truly mean to be human? Prehistoric Shadows, where the forgotten walk again, where ancient blood still speaks, where history isn't over, it's waiting to be rediscovered.